considerations in your enterprise imaging strategy. First I'd say, let's form a vision. What is your vision for your site? The way I often look at it is we're going to put in this platform, we're going to come into our customer site, and we're going to put in an advanced archive and communication system. We're going to put in an advanced A and C into your system that's really going to form that enterprise imaging platform. But from that, what value are you looking to get out of it? Are you looking to enhance your specialty workflows within your departments? Are you looking to have a best-of-breed visualization approach to your different specialty departments while you standardize the archiving, the communication? Are you looking to better provide sharing and access to the data? This gets into the EMR image enablement and the physician and patient portal, and doing away with CDs and DVDs. How can we use web-based technologies, encrypted, time-sensitive email or URLs and things like that? Are you looking to leverage the platform to connect you to an HIE at some point? Are you in a state where an HIE is being built up and they're going to be using XDS standards in the future? Or are you looking to move really even beyond imaging and have one platform that's not only managing radiology and cardiology and dermatology and ophthalmology images, but also looking to manage some docs, some documents. Maybe it's radiology oncology reports. Maybe it's even consent forms. So I would say look at your enterprise strategy and prioritize how you want to go. As we look at our own vendor-neutral archive and our own platform, our own enterprise imaging platform, these are core components of our platform that come along with the product that we're constantly building out and working with our customers to improve. From a VNA perspective, things to consider around storage formats. I always say go standard. Go standard first. There may be exception cases. Again, for instance, in cardiology with EKG strips, you want to wrap in DICOM. That's fine, but I would first make sure that the vendor-neutral archive can store those formats in their standard-based format. You never know if that modality needs to pull back the AVI file or the TIFF or the JPEG or whatever it may be. So as you look into the VNAs, can they store a standard DICOM without doing anything proprietary to it? Can they store a standard non-DICOM media file such as a JPEG or AVI or TIFF without wrapping it? Some of the vendors will tell you that they can take in any kind of format through the use of XDS. Again, I think I would caution a little bit there around XDS is the right solution for within a department. If dermatology can't support DICOM, it probably can't support XDS. So look into how both DICOM and non-DICOM formats are stored. From a lifecycle management, I talked about this earlier. It's more than just about purging. It's also about keeping the data up to date as patient merges, patient updates. It's about the access controls. If now all of a sudden you have this consolidated image storage device that's storing radiology and cardiology and pathology and wound care and so forth, there needs to be some way of controlling access to it. If I'm a radiology PACS querying the VNA, maybe I shouldn't see what's in dermatology, and I shouldn't see what's in dental, and I shouldn't see what's in cardiology in my CFIND results that come back. So how can you control that access? How can you also control access to the users? And not only just be restrictive, but also just clearing out the noise. As a physician going into a system and looking at a work list, they may not want to see all the imaging data from these different specialties. Translation and transformation capabilities. We've talked about this a bit. Does that VNA give you the ability to translate and transform the data so it's in a standards-based format? So we don't have to worry about converting proprietary formats to a standards-based later. And especially while you have those front-end systems, those modality and potentially PACS vendors that are creating those proprietary formats now, while they are customers and on good terms, now's the time to work out and figure out how you get some of those things converted in a standards format. Disaster recovery. Does the VNA support disaster recovery, or does it solely depend on storage, the storage vendor, which may be okay too, but there could be some nice advances for instance, in our VNA, if we're storing into radiology and radiology disaster recovery 100 miles down the street, let's compress it. Let's compress it further. And also, when the PACS queries us, if radiology is down, let's automatically have it fail over to radiology DR without the client and user even knowing. Can it help out with thin slice management? Can we purge off thin slices after a couple of years? Can we anonymize studies for teaching and research? So a bunch of things to think about when you're looking at a VNA. At Mach7, we have a number of different ways to ingest non-DICOM. Users can browse the file system. It's a user-intensive way of getting non-DICOM in. We also have ways that we can pull folder locations to automatically ingest and associate data to patients and visit information. Ophthalmology is a good example where we can ingest TIFF images and automatically associate it to the right patient and visit. But for those specialties like dermatology and wound care, how can we capture videos and photos and take notes and things like that efficiently? With our, does your VNA vendor that you're looking at, do they have tools that enable you to present a pick list of patient visits, just like a tech would do in radiology? And from that pick list, then take pictures of the mole or the rash and associate it to that patient and visit, and then have it sent to the VNA. How can we, let's learn from those other departments and figure out how we can optimize those workflows. Now, from a communication perspective, the C in PACS, the C in that enterprise imaging platform, how can we optimize the workflows? Again, talking about translating and transforming workflows. Can I have different schedules? Maybe I have a remote site that doesn't have a radiologist on staff after midnight. Can I route it to a different place? Can I auto-generate HL7 orders? Can I fix patient IDs and so forth? Are there ways to do compression and encryption? Does that workflow engine process at a study, series, or image level? I think that's one unique thing for ourselves is processing at an image level, and therefore enable you to have real data intelligence as the data is coming in and figure out exactly where each image needs to go. But it's also about, that enterprise imaging platform also needs to have those similar kind of workflows around non-DICOM. So whether it be HL7, I've talked quite a bit about patient updates and merges. Maybe it's HL7 triggering prefetch workflows. Maybe it's XDS or modality work list. And it's interesting, modality work list, I'm sure most of you already have a DICOM modality work list solution, but what about non-DICOM sources? Do you have a solution for brokering patients and visits so that dermatology and wound care can see a pick list similar to what you see in radiology? If it's non-DICOM in its native format, it's a good evaluation piece for your viewer. So for instance, at Mach7, our clinical enterprise viewer supports displaying images in their native formats. So if it's DICOM, it's going to show it in a DICOM viewer. If it's non-DICOM, it's a JPEG or a TIFF or even a video file, it will show that also in its native format within that same viewer. So the viewer is designed to stream up different media of many different formats. But it does raise an interesting question. When you're evaluating VNAs and other viewers, there's certainly a lot of DICOM viewers out on the market. But as you're evaluating them, do you need to wrap everything in DICOM just so you can support your enterprise viewer? Or do you need to put a requirement on the enterprise viewer to be able to support those non-DICOM formats? And if they do, and if it is a third-party viewer and it supports only non-DICOM, then does it have a standards-based way, or is it integrated to that VNA of choice to be able to view those? A standards-based way could be through XDS, for instance, to be able to query the VNA through XDS consumer protocols to be able to get that out. So in summary, though, our viewer supports displaying DICOM and non-DICOM formats. The way our product has been architected and developed to date is from learning from our customers, learning from the market. As much as I like to step on a soapbox and talk about it in the industry, I also learn quite a bit. So I thank everyone for their time today.